podcast. I'm Charlie Neff.
I'm Edward Lewis.
Yes, Edward, thank you for filling in for Charlie Cotton today.
Of course, anytime.
Edward is our top dog over at TMZ Sports.
Numero uno. TMZ Sports.
All right, we got a lot of topics to go over today. We're going to be starting with Gymnast Mykayla Skinner is asking Simone Biles to stop the death threats and put an end to it.
Whoa. Stop the bullying that's leading to death threats.
Right. That she says, kind of says, was caused by Simone.
Right.
We're also going to get into Ben Stiller. He made some very interesting comments. He said that he wishes he was black and that all Jewish people wish they were black. Okay. And then we'll get into Justin Timberlake. So as you guys know, he had his DWI back in June. Well, guess what? We have obtained the document which shows how poorly he did on his field sobriety tests. And then we'll get into some Y2K nostalgia. Polly Pocket Airbnb is going to be available, as well as Blake Lively. She channeled her, well, she's not available, but she channeled her inner Britney, maybe gunning for that biopic role. We'll see. All right, so starting with Mykayla Skinner. So she said that she's been a target for a ton of hate after Simone Biles shaded her on social media. She's claimed her family has even received death threats amid the drama. Here's a little bit of the clip so you can hear what she said.
Watching people cheer on the bullying, which has led to threats of physical harm to me, my husband, and our daughter is disgusting. So please, at this point, I am just asking for it to just stop for the sake of my family, because enough is enough.
Oof. Yeah, so she is calling on Simone to tell her fans to stop the bullying, stop the hate, and Simone has not said anything.
So
yet.
to set this all up, if people really aren't familiar with it, I'm sure you've heard about it by now. This is kind of the biggest story of the Olympics, in my opinion. Back in July, late June, Mykayla Skinner went on her social media page and kind of trashed Team USA following the selection of the 4 gymnasts. To paraphrase, she essentially said, like, outside of Simone Biles, nobody wants to work hard. They're lazy, blah, blah, blah.
She was talking about some new, order, right? Where basically the coaches can't be too hard on the girls. Right. There's, all these new layers and, protection against, abuse, basically.
She later walked back the comments, to your point, and made it seem like they were more generic. They weren't necessarily about Jordan Childs or Suni Lee or the other gymnasts that were selected to the squad. But she was saying there was more of a generic, like you're saying, it's more this Gen Z, Gen Alpha crowd that's being coddled by their coaches. Whereas when I was an Olympian, we were taught we had to be hard nosed and blah blah blah. Right? They had seemed to kind of squash the beef because she walked back the comments and Simone Biles hadn't really made any noise about it. But following their win in the team competition, which encompasses the balance beam, the floor, all that stuff. Biles went to her Instagram page and put on her caption, "Not bad for a bunch of lazy gymnasts," right? Obviously a clear shot at Mykayla Skinner's comments. Well,
she put lack of talent, lazy Olympic champ.
Right. So Skinner went, obviously everybody went and attacked Skinner over it. She got so bad, she actually had to block Simone Biles. And again, days later, maybe almost a week later, she then released this post, this video where she's saying that, look, it has gotten so bad thanks to your Instagram caption. I am receiving death threats. My family's receiving death threats. And now she's basically asking Simone, like you heard in the clip, please stop. I personally think that Simone should have taken the high road here, especially given
not shaded her in her caption.
Yeah, what's the point of it? And I think I do believe Skinner here. I do believe that she was more talking about the next generation in general, as opposed to this team sucks. I can't believe Team USA picked these people. So I'm kind of Team Skinner on this one. I know.
I do think there's something to be said that when you're at your highest achievement in life, you wouldn't want to bring someone else down in that moment. But on the flip, and that's going to Simone, posting their big win and all that. I just thought it was a very interesting choice to bring someone else down during your highest achieving moment. However, on the flip side, I do see how people think Mykayla attacked these women.
Sure.
But at the same time, like, they're amazing champions. They're winners. So, I guess maybe that's just kind of the competitive nature that Mykayla was raised in, where it's like you'll never be good enough,
Right.
which is sick, by the way. But definitely, like, my mom was a competitive swimmer. And like the generation she was raised in, it was like, you'll never be good enough. You got to do better. You got to be faster. You got to be, whatever. It was like, honestly, abusive a little bit, but to her point, like, that's what made her a champion.
Right.
So I think that's kind of the mentality that Mykayla Skinner is still in. But the new girls are like, no, this is not okay to say.
We should say Skinner was Biles' teammate at
Right.
the last Olympics, and so that's why it's a little bit bigger. It's not just some like talking head on the internet being like, these people are lazy. It does hit a little closer to home than a normal I guess detractor would. But at the same time, again, like we talked about, this is your biggest moment maybe in your life, and you're talking about what a former teammate said, and quite frankly, what a former teammate may have not even meant to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you believe her, she says it was just simply a critique on the next generation. It wasn't on you guys. So,
And Simone, she does have a ton of fans. There's a lot of
That's the
people
other
out there rooting for her. So I can
Right.
definitely see how people would feel intoxicated
Yes.
to want to say something nasty.
right.
And the social media, like, life right now is just so horrible.
And remember Simone Biles, when she had the twisties, she was bullied for years.
Yeah, that's true. And
So-
she has been an advocate for
Right.
mental health, which is something
So
that
to
Mykayla
do this to somebody else,
mentioned.
it feels kind of like beneath her, and I
Yeah.
think if she had to do it all over again, especially given Mykayla Skinner. By the way, this video, we only showed a clip of it. It's 4 minutes of
4
her
minutes.
essentially pleading with people, stop bullying me.
She
Simone,
does kind of
please
get
stop.
choked up in it, too.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. So I mean, it does. It seems like Biles should have probably taken that back and not just celebrated the achievement. Let other people make the criticism for her.
Yeah. All right, moving on to Ben Stiller. He made some bizarre comments that I'm still trying to work out in my brain.
I'm glad you're responsible for this because I don't know.
But he threw his full support behind Kamala Harris in the 2024 presidential election. And in doing so, he cracked a weird joke about white Jewish dudes all wanting to be black. Here's what he had to say.
And she's also a historic candidate. It's going to be the first woman president. And that's incredibly exciting. And, she's Indian, she's black, she's everything. You can be more than one thing. It's incredible. I'm Jewish and Irish. I wish I was black. Every white Jewish guy wishes he was black.
Okay. I mean, I'm not Jewish, so I couldn't speak to this,
Same.
but it does feel very stereotype a bit. Obviously he's trying to be funny and he is a
Right.
comedian,
Right.
but I think a lot of people were like, really? If you're endorsing her, this is the point you have to make?
Yeah, I think he was trying to be silly and trying to be funny.
Yeah.
Not necessarily that it's an outrageous claim or something like that. but
Right, right.
And especially in the tone he said it. I don't. But it did come off really strange.
Yeah, just listening to the clip on its own, it's like, wait, what? But he did go on to describe Kamala as a decent person. He said how excited he is about the prospect of Kamala beating Trump. And that he says Kamala has energized young voters who were maybe disengaged before she arrived on the scene. Yeah.
He's donating $150,000. I think a lot of celebrities appear to be Team Kamala on this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Hollywood
is more liberal, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if that surprised me or not. I mean, maybe. I guess the only thing I'm surprised about is how late in the game they are. Not to get too political on this, but it's like Biden just dropped out, and the election's soon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like all these people are backing this candidate who wasn't necessarily the candidate for the last 3.5 years. So
I thought it was very interesting. I think it was Gavin Newsom said yesterday after Kamala's whole speech with her VP, he had said something like, "Oh, Kamala got everyone excited again." And I feel like in a way that's kind of a diss at
Trashing Biden, no?
Yeah, but everyone was so supportive of Biden until they weren't.
Right.
And then everyone turned on his ass. And which, by the way, should we be concerned he's still running the country right now? I mean,
That's
like,
the other part
what
of
is
it too. His whole
happening?
party is kind of like, yeah, you're terrible and Kamala's great, but you have 5 months left on the job, you know?
Yeah, like everyone kind of decided all at once, like both parties, like, hey, he's like
You're
kind of
not
a
fit for this?
taxidermy at this
Yes.
point. Like, but then we're all just like, you know the meme where it's like the little dog sipping coffee and the fires all
Yes,
around
yeah, yeah,
him?
this
It's like
is
I feel
fine,
like
yeah.
that's what we are right now.
I'm
But-
with you. Like I'm a sports guy. I don't do a whole lot of politics, but if you put this in like a sports metaphor, it just feels so weird. It's like you have this backup quarterback that you've kind of been like okay on.
Yeah.
The starting quarterback gets injured. Now the backup quarterback, this is the best quarterback we've ever had. We didn't even like our starting quarterback.
Right.
Where are we on this? So I don't know. But Ben Stiller, yeah, he's supporting Kamala, and maybe he would use a different joke next time. I guess at least. I don't
Yeah,
know.
he should go back to the drawing line. Okay, moving on. Justin Timberlake, as you guys know, we reported that he was arrested on June 18th. He got a DWI. His attorney basically said that he wasn't intoxicated. Remember, he refused to blow the breathalyzer. So it looks like there's going to be some kind of debate between was he drunk, was he not?
Sure.
There's nothing on record about that. However, there is a document that has surfaced basically showing how poorly he did on the sobriety tests. There was a walk and turn test. And apparently, Justin was allegedly very unbalanced and failed to correctly follow instructions. The test itself required Justin to walk in a straight line while taking 9 steps, and he totally blew it. He also took an improper turn during the test. He turned the wrong way, was using his heel to turn, which sounds kind of wobbly. And he was instructed to raise 1 foot off of the ground for 30 seconds, but he couldn't keep his balance and put his foot down. Look, just all those notes, it doesn't sound good. And then, of course, we've seen the mugshot. His eyes are so glassy, but he claims he only had 1 martini. I don't know. Look, they're still in court about this.
Right. And it doesn't seem to be anytime soon that we're going to hear the end of this. But I am so fascinated by this because it truly is a he said, she said, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the evidence is based on the opinion of these officers. And like
Which we have put them in position
Yeah,
to give their best
it
opinion.
basically just comes down to like how much do you value or how much does society or how much does, I guess in this case, the jury value the opinions of the officers? Because he is adamant, and his attorney, Ed Burke, was in front of the courthouse the other day, adamant, like that Justin Timberlake was not drunk, adamant. And Justin is adamant he wasn't drunk. And even said in the police report, I only had 1 martini. So all these cops are going to testify and they're going to say this, and this. But at the end of the day, like, does making you make a wrong turn on a 10-step thing make you drunk and not legally allowed to drive? I am fascinated at how this will play out because, like, does a panel of 12 jurors simply believe Justin or do they simply believe the cops? Because
I think we're going to have to see the body cam footage, right?
Sure.
And kind of go from there and make an assessment. Because, I mean, if he is turning in this walk and turn test and he's turning on his heel and he's like
falling
wobbling
over,
back, I mean, it's not going to look good for him.
It's essentially, I guess I'm fascinated by it because if there's no video that shows either him being super drunk or not super drunk, like, it is just essentially he said, she said. And I to me, that's wild that a person could go to jail over he said, she said. Like, he is adamant he isn't drunk. You know what I mean? And there's no blood test, there's no BAC, there's no breathalyzer. And, unless he's like stumbling as bad as they say he is on video, I don't know how you convince 12 jurors other than my word deserves more than his. And we live in a society where people idolize these celebrities, right?
Yeah.
So how do you get 12 jurors to not believe Justin Timberlake, one of the most famous people of our lives,
But I do think
it's a
everyone
very interesting thing.
kind of knows somebody or knows somebody that has been like affected by drunk drivers.
Sure, of
Like,
course, of course.
That definitely is a huge thing where people get killed,
Right.
all the time, and it's horrible. By the way, they took an inventory of Justin's belongings.
Mhm.
Here's some of the things he had: a Rolex watch, a black vape pen, a gold ring, and some cash in his wallet. I'm dying to know how much cash.
Yeah, I've read it something like a couple $100. something
Okay,
like that.
yeah, that's not too bad. It's like valet tip or
Still,
something.
That's
Yeah.
more than I carry.
Moving on to some 90s topics. First, Polly Pocket. There's an Airbnb that is going to be kind of up for grabs for a little hotel stay. It's going to be kind of like one of those competitions. They're doing like an exclusive one-night stay for only $89 per person. And it's located in Littleton, Massachusetts. It's the cutest Airbnb ever. Do you know what Polly Pocket is?
Yeah, they're like the little small
Yeah, like
dolls.
little compact case
Yeah, like
and has a little
ant-sized
yes,
dolls. Yeah.
exactly. Which by the way, they're turning into a movie after all the success with Barbie. Now
Okay.
Polly Pocket's gonna be a thing. Lily Collins is playing Polly, aka Emily in Paris.
Okay.
Gonna be so good. I'm so there. Can't wait to dress up as Polly Pocket.
Okay. Wait, so this is a house
That
that
looks
like
like
one of
compact,
her
yes.
little okay, got it.
Yeah,
And you can
so
rent it
cute.
for $89.
If you win.
It's just one person
One
gets it
night.
for one night.
Well, it's like I think you can have a couple people there with you staying, but it's only one person's gonna win.
And what happens to the other nights of this Polly Pocket house?
I guess nothing. Just sits there.
Okay.
But they should open it. Like, open it
I just
up.
don't-
Like, I want to book it for, like, New Year's
So
Eve.
it seems
you know?
then this is simply they redid this house for a
Yes.
couple days in order to promote the potential movie.
Yes. They've done this before. There was the Barbie house,
Right.
which everybody sent to me. I want to say, like, 200 plus people sent this Barbie Airbnb house thing to me, like, years ago. I'm like, please stop sending this to me.
Okay.
But I
Right.
would love to stay at one of these. Looks so cute. Have you seen, like, there's the Winnie the Pooh house you can stay at. There's
But you
like
can
lots of
stay at
cute-
that like year round.
No.
No,
They're
you
all
can't.
these,
Okay.
like,
Okay.
raffle type things. So,
For what reason?
Edward, we're never going to stay there.
I don't want to stay there. I just don't understand why.
I know you want to stay there and do your little pictures.
It's okay, I don't need that. It's all right.
Also, Blake Lively. Oh my gosh, I'm dying over this. So she showed up to her movie premiere last night in New York
Got it.
wearing the dress that Britney Spears once wore in 2002. when
The
she went
actual one or just
the
a clone of it?
actual
Oh.
dress. So, which by the way, like humble brag, you can fit into Britney's dress.
Yeah, that is interesting.
She looked freaking amazing. She was on the red carpet. She was telling all the reporters like how much Britney means to her and what Britney represents. And at the end, one of the reporters asked her, like, you know, there's a biopic. Universal just got the rights to Britney's book, The Woman in Me. They're turning it into a movie. They got allegedly all the song
Mhm.
rights.
Okay.
Blake, you're wearing Britney's dress. Would you want to play Britney in her biopic? And she first says, I shouldn't be given that job, but I would love to.
Why shouldn't she be given that job?
I don't know. I thought she would be a good
Maybe
Britney
'cause she's
Spears.
older?
Maybe.
But the biopic would be about Britney's height of her career, which was like 18 to 26, yeah? And she's
yeah,
in
she
her
was
late
like
30s?
19. No, she was 19.
No,
when she
Blake
did,
is
like,
in her late
Slave-
30s.
Oh, yes, yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah, maybe that's why?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought, dude, if that
I
was
could see
me,
that.
I would be like, absolutely, Brittany, call me, you
But
know?
yeah.
But she kind of, I think she was trying to be a little humble about
Right.
it.
But she's that probably is the reason, no? Right? You would think that somebody would be like kind of a younger
But you could always
like
star.
Olivia Rodrigo would make sense for that role. Like if she,
no,
you know what I
no,
mean?
she
Like,
would not. What are we
she's a
doing
pop
here?
star, she's pretty, she's in
She
that
looks
age
nothing
range.
like Britney.
You
And
could,
you need to somewhat look like Britney. That
But
should be like just
as opposed
standard.
to a she's a mother of a couple children, right? And now
Who?
Blake, right?
Yeah.
And you want her to portray a 19-year-old Britney Spears doing "I'm a Slave for You"?
I think
Like,
she could do it.
it's how believable would it be?
Terrible!
20 years older than Britney.
So actors so many times play like old, young. Are you watching House of Dragon?
Well,
The one girl is like 30 years old, and the people playing her children are only 27. Like, come on.
I don't know. Look, I don't...
Anyway,
Shout out to Blake though. I love her.
You know what?
She
You
was my
suck,
celebrity
Edward.
crush.
We're moving on from your negativity.
I'm sorry. Sorry, Blake.
All right, today in history, Edward, you're gonna like this one.
Okay.
It is International Beer Day.
Oh,
Not beard, beer, like chug chug.
B-E-R, yeah.
Yes. What's your favorite beer?
A Modelo
Oh,
or Pacific.
that's really dark. That's a dark beer,
No,
isn't it?
It's light Mexican lager. Yeah. It's
Oh,
it's really
okay.
refreshing
It
and crisp.
shows you how much I know about my beer. I like a good Blue Moon with a little orange.
Don't like that. Too heavy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I'm
Feels
heavy.
like you eat a meal.
Yeah, true. Okay. Also, this day in 1909, I didn't know about this, but this was a big, like, cultural moment in 1909.
Okay.
Taking you back.
What is that?
4 women made history when they became the first women to complete a transcontinental automobile trip. So basically, they took 59 days to travel in a car from New York to San Francisco. And Alice Hoolier Ramsey who was one of the girls. She drove the entire trip.
Okay.
I would hate to be the girl in the back just going along for the ride. 1909.
Yeah, you know that not a
I think it was the car that
That's
goes like
not a comfy
this.
car. Yeah.
Yeah,
Those seats are.
Just imagine being in the back seat. I would get
Yeah.
so much motion sickness
Yeah.
back there, car sickness, being
And
crammed
the
in a
roads
car with
weren't-
4 women
weren't
crammed in a
paved.
car for
Yeah.
59 days.
Yeah,
That sounds miserable.
yeah, not for me.
But they broke history. Okay, moving
for
on. 1959, the first U.S. satellite was launched to photograph the Earth.
Great,
Isn't that lovely?
love that. Love that.
Little Earth's first selfie, kind
Love
of.
that for them.
This day in 1974, Philip Petit tight-roped between the Twin Towers, which was not approved of. So this guy just got a cable, climbed on up to the Twin Towers, strung out a
You just,
cable.
like, yeet it to the other side.
I guess so. I mean, your guess is as good as mine, but
Uh-huh.
he walked the tightrope. He made 4 trips
Yeesh.
back and forth on the rope, and he got in a ton of trouble from this. And there was like charges against him, but they basically agreed in the end that they would drop all the charges in exchange for performance with children.
Aw.
Aw. So happy ending there.
Yeah.
Couple birthdays today, Charlize Theron and David Duchovny. X-Files.
I don't
Dun,
know.
dun,
Yeah, okay,
dun,
I know
dun,
that.
dun, dun.
I know Charlize too.
Uh,
Some people say I used to look like Charlize.
That I'm sorry. We're about to wrap this up, folks, but I gotta just unpack this. People have said
she went to a Lakers game once.
look like Charlize Theron.
Our old coworker Miguel, I was sitting with him and his good buddy Ronnie, and we were watching the game, Lakers game, and Charlize Theron was courtside. She had like a little like pixie cut, and it kind of looked like my hair the way I styled it that time. Just like a decade.
Edward, this is so insulting. Charlize, if you're watching, please ignore him.
I'm pretty-
I
he's pretty
apologize
good. It's okay.
on my colleague's behalf. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you tomorrow.